Welcome back to the Focus Podcast. Today we have Sean Duncan with SMD Consulting and Accounting. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thanks, man.
Hey, we just saw each other at an event. Thank you again for the referral. And
You're
your
very welcome.
tattoo is looking amazing. I remember
Thank you.
back
I'm
then it was
shining up some
wrapped
colors and got some black and white now. So
Come
yeah.
on, ready for water, ready for sun.
Yes,
So
and I've
that's
got a
it.
couple more that'll happen this year. So
Yes, this saying is true. I got one a few years ago, and it's like now the itch is there. Like, let's complete this. What's next? So,
yeah,
I get it.
I forced myself on this because each new hex that I do is a new country I travel to.
Oh,
So then it ends up being an obligation that I don't want it to be blank. So I'll just keep filling it. Every time I take a vacation to a different country, I'll add that flag and I'll just keep on going.
okay, that is very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. You don't hear that every day from your accounting person and your CPA guys.
It's
so-
about lifestyle, man. It's like I don't do accounting just to do accounting. I do
Yes.
accounting because it helps me, helps clients, helps my employees. So yeah.
Yes, and I've always been impressed with how you run your business. This is why I wanted to have you on because you have been able to scale. A lot of our audience out there are looking to grow and to scale.
Mhm.
So let's get into it from an accounting perspective because whether you like it or not, if you're in business, you're going to have to come across accounting,
Yeah.
or else you're not
And
going to
I
do
admit,
business.
it sucks. Accounting sucks. I understand.
I'm
We're
one
going
of
to try to make it not suck
the,
today.
I'm one of the nerds that enjoys it. Obviously, if we're having a better month, it's more fun.
Yes.
But
Until the taxes due. then it's-
until the taxes are due. Yes, put those quarterlies away. So what I love about SMD Consulting and Accounting is you guys position yourself more than just an accounting firm. You focus on strategy, long-term growth,
Mhm.
not just here's all my tax stuff, do my tax return, right? So what's a financial common blind spot that you're seeing with businesses that they overlook nowadays, and how can they fix that?
A couple different angles to answer that is one of the ones that affects us the most is the AICPA has done an amazing job teaching us that accountants are supposed to just do a tax return. That's exactly the perception is here's my stuff, fill the form out. I got to go do other more important things. And they look at this as this cost that they have to do. I have to do the bookkeeping and I have to do the taxes. That's the first flaw is you're not looking at things as a cost. Everything you spend money on should be an investment. I should be getting something back greater than what I'm paying. And that's why the firm's name is SMD Consulting and Accounting because we focus on consulting. We don't just fill out forms. Our job is to bring greater value. And so it's that scarcity mindset. A lot of business owners are like, "Oh, that's too expensive." Well, if you think about it this way, if I were to save you $100,000 in taxes, but I tell you, "Oh, our fees are $24,000." Am I too expensive?
Right.
I'm not. I'm actually, and a lot of people don't understand that you are wasting this money on the government. You're wasting this money on this marketing thing that you're doing that's not generating opportunities. Like you can spend money, but if you're investing in the right professional to help you make a greater return, immediately that changes your business. It has nothing to do with accounting. I'm just using my own example.
Right.
But the successful business owners are long-minded. They think, okay, where am I going? What is the ROI on this? Is this investment today worth the payoff in the end? So in my case, it hits the tax world. It's if I can save you $100,000 in taxes, I'm not expensive anymore. Now, if I save you $20,000 in taxes and I cost you $24,000, a terrible idea. That's a bad business choice. So
Right.
that for sure is one. Diving into a subcategory of things that business owners mix more specifically, just the deductions. They miss deductions. You don't even realize what you can write off, or you're paying attention to TikTok and it's teaching you something that's actually against the law.
Yeah.
And way too many business owners are relying on TikTok and Facebook to get their information rather than just going to a professional. Not all CPAs give advice. In fact, we just had a prospect meeting with a physician this morning that he has for years kept asking his CPA, is there anything we can do? Is there anything we can do? And she's like, nope, you did everything. Our first analysis shows he wasted about $70,000 last year. In taxes, he did not have to pay. On the first wave, I haven't even dug in.
Right.
The first things I would change, there's two changes we would make, $70K for him this year. That's the difference because nobody really looked at it. So it's knowing that you're missing these opportunities and you don't even know. You can educate yourself. You don't have to pay a professional, but I'm going to tell you that They go hand in hand, but those are two off the top of my head. I'm sure there's hundreds of others if I sit here and stew on that one question.
No, those are two biggies because of the fact that, like you said, it's a mindset shift, and you have to think of this as, like you said, long term. I did this. It's a very simple example, but something similar. Old me, yesterday I went to the store and we had to get some paper towels, and there was like 2 for $7, or you could get like a billion for like 15.
Yeah.
So old me would be like, oh, we just need 2. Let's just get the 2.
Mhm.
But new me, with the new mindset shift, was like, you know what? We're going to use paper towels. Like, we're never just not going to use paper towels.
Yeah.
So why not get a billion more for only like $7 more? You know what I mean? So it's like that mindset shift you're saying there, where it's like, if I put in $25,000 and get back $100,000, I'm never going to turn that machine off ever.
Right.
And so you have to have that mindset shift to say, okay, what's the long-term savings and vision? But tell me this though, people can't just come to you, I'm sure, in December and go, okay, like, let's put together a strategy. When should they be coming to you throughout the year?
Ironically, and not because we scheduled it this time, yesterday I sent out the reminder emails that, hey, even if you're not currently a client, we're literally running out of time. Now we're recording this, so whenever you publish this,
Yeah.
we're recording this at the end of August. It's August, man. I got a whole lot of time. Actually, no. October and November are going to be here really quickly. And why did I pick October and November? Those are perfect times. If you're only going to meet with your CPA once a year, October and November gives you enough time to understand what's happened for the year. I've got 10 or 11 months behind me. I kind of know what the results are going to be.
Yeah.
But yet I have 1 to 2 months to implement any strategies I choose. I happen to close my office from Christmas to New Year's. So if you walk in on the 27th, I am so sorry. We're actually not there. We're on call for emergencies, but really, how many accounting emergencies are there in the world? There's not a lot. But if you contact us on December 15th and say, okay, I'd like to be a new client, help me save money. I don't know you. I don't know about your situation. I don't know if you have a mess. I have no time to analyze and then implement.
Right.
So you need to give time for implementation. So right now is the perfect time to start thinking about it and get on calendars for September, October, November. But really, I call November the drop dead. Do we work miracles in December? Yes. Are there strategies I can pull off in January, February? Sometimes.
Yeah.
But anything happening in January 1 is infinitely less valuable than something we do in the previous year at any time during the year. I cannot go back in time and change things. My time machine just doesn't work that way.
Right.
But now is absolutely a perfect time. The best situation, which is what we do a subscription-based thing that actually helps throughout the year, because as your year ebbs and flows, you close 5 huge deals in January, but then suddenly things go dry and July is different. You want to buy a helicopter in August, but maybe you decide it's a boat in December. Like, things will move and shift.
Right.
That's where that ongoing really makes a difference, because we're changing with your courses instead of just, well, that's how the year went.
Yeah.
Or we find out you did something in February you really should have done differently. And true example, I have had multiple clients buy airplanes without telling us. Now, not all of our clients can afford airplanes. We do deal with typically higher net worth individuals. But to just say, oh, by the way, I just spent $600,000, $1.5 million, $3.5 million on a new plane. Don't you think that how you buy it, should I have an entity, should I rent it to myself, there's a tax deduction, that kind of matters.
Right.
That's like saying, I'm going to go buy a house and not tell my wife.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. Well, the house example will get you murdered, but the tax example will get you audited.
Yeah.
But to shock your accountant with stuff after the fact could literally be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had a client that it was like, I can't unwind this. You bought it this way. It's documented this way. There's a bank loan this way. I can't change those documents. And I'm sorry, the consequence is these thousands and thousands of dollars.
And yeah, what I'm hearing is that it's better to have someone, a firm like yourself, say, hey, this is what could happen. This is a forecast. This is what's going to happen, as opposed to just like, okay, let's see what happened.
Yeah.
And so you did mention high worth individuals. If you look on your YouTube channel, a lot of videos addressing doctors. I know you guys work with a lot of doctors. Why do you think you attract so many docs in this space?
Oh man, layers of reasons. One is ROI. When typically our clients are medical practice owners or high earning doctors. Now, high earning is subjective. Normally, it's a household. Our bottom end of our typical clients is a household. And I point this out, not the doctor, the household, because everything we do affects a family and not just one individual.
Right.
And that's already a difference. A lot of people just say, I help businesses only. Households make typically $300,000-$400,000 a year. So that's dang good earner and above. So if you're a surgeon that has a W-2 that makes $800,000, I have different strategies than if you're a podiatrist owning a practice that makes $400,000. There's different tips and tricks. So how it emerges, I can generate ROI because you're in a high tax bracket. Yep. That's one thing.
Okay.
We have a rapport. We just really do. When I say I have to do my analysis before I can give you a recommendation, it's literally the same thing as I can't give you a diagnosis until I've run my labs.
Right.
So we talk a similar language. I have a very, very high respect for what they do. They are literally saving people's lives. They're absolutely helping that person walk. And to me, it's almost like this ancillary service to help them keep doing that thing because I can't. But it's so cool to know that if I can help that practice grow and add 3 more physicians or add 2 more MAs, and they can then service more people and more people are able to get their ankles repaired because, it seems cheesy, but it's legit. And then it's also word of mouth. They're going to tell each other, you help this doctor save $300,000 and buy a beach house. They tend to brag and then they'll tell the next person.
Right.
And so there's layers. Not all of them are good fits.
Right.
We have, certain subspecialties, but it evolved over time. I started the firm in 2006 and helped anybody with money. Show up, I will help you. And it just kept flowing from there. We started generating ROI, started creating rapport, and quite frankly, built a national reputation. Our clients are all over the US. And so I'll get a referral from a doc in Portland that just moved from Colorado, and he calls back to his offices in Colorado and say, hey, dude, you need to use this guy. I just started my practice and he helped me. Like it's really weird how it happens.
And I don't think it's cheesy at all because I feel the same way in the video space. It's so cool to be able to shoot some really quality video for a client because this is going to help them help more people and you get to learn their business, all this, that, and the other. But you touched on something very important there. You have to be going over the right clients because they're going to know people just like them.
Yes.
And so if you have quote unquote bad clients that you really don't want, they're going to know other bad clients that you really don't want. So
we have a universal saying in
them.
our office, jackasses hang out with jackasses.
That's true.
And they will continue to refer you to their friends.
Yep.
And so you would and I had to fire 5 dudes at one shot.
Yeah.
Like 5 people because the first one said, yeah, they're good. And then brought in his 4 buddies and they were all horrible human beings.
Right.
And I won't even go into the stories of why I'm saying that. They were just bad people. Well, I had to get rid of 5 clients in one shot, really because I didn't gatekeep the first one.
Yep.
You don't get to cuss out my employees and scream and yell. We're in a situation where I have a firm that it's focused on me and my team. And you actually heard me say this, I think, when we were at that other event. I want us to have a lifestyle that we enjoy, but we're also fulfilled in the work we do. And then we help other people be successful and they get to work with my team. So it's almost a benefit. The client is not always right. Now, we do help them a ton,
right?
But I don't have to. I don't have to have every client in the world. We get to work with some really freaking cool people. And that is you get up and you want to help your client out, that's cool. If it's like, oh, I got to help them because they're paying us.
Right.
Just clear those people out and focus on the ones that crush it. You're going to do a better job. You're going to have more fun. They're going to have more fun. They're going to introduce you to more people. It's just this building system. And it took me a while to learn that because any new business owner is struggling. You want every bit of cash that you can possibly get. And honestly, firing clients is a pain in the rear.
Yeah.
Either you fire them or they fire you. So at some point you realize you're not a fit.
Yeah.
And I had to be very, very intentional about who gets in the door. I mess up. Don't get me wrong. I have some bad. I thought that was a good person,
right?
But generally, we're very, very fortunate to have awesome clients that come in, and we get further awesome recommendations.
No, I love that, and you guys definitely have built that reputation. And one of the things that I love about what you just said is that when you have that higher caliber client, they let you lead. They let you be the expert, and sometimes on the other side, they kind of want to lead and be the expert, and it's like this is not going to work. So,
I saw on Google that you can do this. Hey, I love collaboration. Please tell us what you're hearing your peers say.
Yeah,
but then, well, I researched this tax code, and I'm telling you this is how it's supposed to be filled out. I was like, Look, if it's a doctor, I could have been an amazing brain surgeon. All I needed to do was go to medical school and work in the practice for 30 years.
Right.
I didn't. I got a master's degree in accounting and I'm a CPA and I've been doing this for 30 years. Not that I couldn't. And when I'm talking to doctors, sometimes they kind of push back. I'm like, guys, of course you can freaking figure out accounting. You're a doctor. However, you didn't.
Right.
So let me do my jam. And then when I blow out my knee, hey, ortho, you can fix my knee. Like, we do what we're good at and let other people do what they're good at. And they really do appreciate it because they refer to other specialists in their field.
Right.
The eye doctor is not doing surgery on your busted ankle. And that's because while they do know how the ankle works, they're not the best fit. And that's the same thing. And there's a lot of amazing accountants out there that are not us.
Yeah.
I know that's hard to believe. There's a lot of really cool ones out there that have different niches that actually I refer to.
Yeah.
And they refer to me. And that's been really our power as we operate a lot like the doctors do and referring back and forth and just staying in your lane. Be awesome at what you do.
That's it. I love that mindset. We were talking before we started recording about, we could do wedding videos. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
We refer out to really good videographers that do that.
Mm-hmm.
And having that abundance mindset, because you can't just be great at everything. So let's be really good at this. So just love that approach. You mentioned earlier about how we as business owners, we miss deductions, or we'll go out and we'll be on TikTok. Another popular one, I cannot have a podcast in 2025 and not bring up AI. I would imagine that people will go to ChatGPT and say, what are my deductions? How are you at SMD Consulting and Accounting? How are you all using AI responsibly to help serve your clients?
Glad you said responsibly, because the irresponsible stuff I do, that's really the fun thing. Now, it's layered. And so some of it's native, right? You're gonna do an email and it's gonna make suggestions. There's stuff that we all have in our Outlook or whatever we're doing. So there's the stuff that's intrinsic to the tools that we have. And so you happen to know a company by the name of Canopy. They're our practice management software. They're really aggressive about building AI into their tools. So Canopy is a practice management software, which means it organizes our junk. It'll assign you tasks. It keeps track of clients. It keeps track of the emails, and it does all this cool stuff. But with it, all that information, it then starts to interpret. I can upload files, and it'll rename the files based on a naming convention that I've taught it. I teach it the naming convention, but the AI kicks in and renames the files. Now think about if you have to go through every client tax return, bookkeeping, investment account, and rename a dang file. It seems like a small thing, but that's a really big deal.
Right.
There's tools that they have that they'll go pull data off the IRS's website on behalf of information that we provide to them so that we can do better work with our client. It's this massive time-saving thing. It gives you analytic recommendations based on what it's seeing that you're looking for. It can prompt you to do actions. That's one tool. But then there's the stuff that we then create on our own side. And off the cuff, I'll give you two examples because these just popped in my head. One is we have an employee of ours that's been working on some AI and creating tools that allow us to go pull data off the state of Texas's website, public information, sort statuses on work that we're doing for a client, and then say, here's the report and show us an open items list.
Come on.
And he then builds the AI to then read that and interpret it to determine where it needs to go. Does it go to Jason? Does it go to Joelle? Does it go to Darlinda? Like who has, but it first is a data gathering, which is the precursor to AI, which is RPA, Robotic Process Automation, I believe is what it's called. They just go gather stuff and organize. And that's not really AI. AI is the interpretation piece and the decision-making piece. And so now it's giving decisions on where to do that. The other one that I've used personally recently is I'm in the process of writing a book for doctors. It's a tax strategy and planning book for doctors, which I know sounds really exciting.
Yeah, I can't.
My
hands on that.
I'm going to wait all day. No, it is very specific to a targeted audience.
Right.
Obviously, it's a specialty. It's a niche. It's great marketing, but it's also educating them. And so what I did is I actually there's only a handful of books out there that even do this, and some of them are older. So I went to ChatGPT and said, hey, go out and look for all of the books that are available in this topic. And here's some names of ones I like that I've read. Look at their table of contents. Now, I don't want to plagiarize anything. Purely look at the table of contents. Tell me create a summary of everything that they've talked about And then what are the ones that maybe only showed up in one book? And give me a breakdown. So it gave me a big breakdown of here's what everybody's talking about. These books only talked about these two things. I said, cool. Now, based on what you know about me, because I've taught it about the firm and our specialty, and it knows a little bit about what we do. I said, what are things that we do that would help these doctors that isn't in these books? And they went, oh, here's 10 more chapters for you. I went, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So then I just built my outline, and then I built my outline on, I know what's already being covered in the marketplace. I may add my own spin to it. And then here's the stuff that's not being touched on that I really need to make sure gets captured, which then now differentiates my book. And that's just playing at a table of contents level. But it allowed me to customize my outline so that then when I start sitting there and pounding at the keyboard, I can go through and just start writing the stuff that's going to be most meaningful. Yes. The next phase of that is what I intend to do is have it help me organize and sort and look for redundancies and all the other stuff that goes with it. But yeah, I'm halfway through writing the dang thing just based on the outline that I used AI for. And I'm sure I'll come up with other goofy ways to use it.
Right.
Irresponsibly, of course.
Of course. No, I love that because the businesses I think that are embracing it correctly are the ones that are allowing it to make them more efficient, but not to do their job. Don't create a video with AI, but maybe streamline the process, maybe help with the editing on the back end. And like you're saying, renaming those files, that could be a huge time saver to where you can actually help more people than if you were bogged down in paperwork or whatnot. So I love the fact that you guys are using that more efficiently because everyone out there, or a lot of people out there, are scared that AI is going to replace me and whatnot.
It might, depending on what you do.
It really might. However, I would be more afraid of not using it because to me, it's like, oh yeah, we're not going to really use the internet. Like that doesn't make any sense. Or we're not going to use email.
Internet's the fad. Nobody's going to actually use that thing.
Right. You have to be able to embrace it, but use it to help you do your job, not to do your job.
Yes.
And to me, that's the key.
We have a saying at the office, and everybody is welcome to steal it, and it's really related to the AI and other processes. Do more with the same.
Yes.
We want to accomplish more and not have to just go hire bodies to do it. And that's where AI and automation comes in, and processes in general.
Right.
The efficiency gained, we can serve more people, help more people. Hey, be more profitable.
Yeah.
By having the same number of staff and the same overhead with the use of tools. Now, the people that are going to lose their jobs are the ones that refuse to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
This is like, no, I like my horse and buggy. I don't think this car thing's going to work. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you absolutely can ride your horse and buggy.
Right.
But everybody's literally speeding by you. That's what's going to happen in my world. And I speak and teach in the accounting community. So I get a good pulse of what's moving on in our industry. And it's a little sad, the sheer volume of accountants and accounting firms that are refusing to acknowledge that this is happening.
Yeah.
They will be out of business in 3 to 5 years. There's a lot of data that shows 50% of the revenue will disappear because of automation. Right. And I'm not going to get into the weeds about the industry specialties, but there's a lot of industries touched by it. And sticking your head in the sand is not going to work.
Right.
Yes, you can get by. Look, there's people that still fill out tax returns by hand with a pen and paper and like seriously.
Sorry, what's a pen?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of these things you use on an iPad. There are preparers still doing these by hand. Right. Now, that died decades ago, but they are doing it. So technically you can hang on and churn your own butter and milk too. I mean, you can make choices that are behind the technology. Just understand that your revenue potential, your efficiency, your happiness, your free time, all of that is impacted by failing to adopt the new tools that are available to you.
A key thing you touched on right before you said that was processes. And unfortunately, I think a lot of businesses out there, they don't even know their process.
Yeah.
And I really had to take a hard look at that. Number one, process, and number two, team. Because if you try to do everything yourself, can't do it all. Because like you mentioned early on in your career on other podcasts, you were doing everything and you were in the office, Monday through Sunday and all the things. Like you have to trust your team, but you have to even know how to prompt AI, you have to know what your processes are to begin with, because if you don't know what your process is, you can't tell AI what you needed to do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are handcuffed in that area. So getting back to business, in your experience, what's the difference between, and I just actually talked to a customer today, like they're killing it, but they're not killing it, if that makes sense, just financially.
Revenue's good, net income zero.
Yeah. And so what do you see the biggest difference between a company that's simply surviving year to year and another one that's thriving and scaling from year to year?
Ooh, I will say, actually, I'll do a throwback to the first thing we said is about the investment mindset, the
Yeah.
expense mindset. There's two ways to affect your financials: increase revenue, decrease costs. Honestly, that's how complicated sometimes this really can be
Yeah.
in the mathematical sense. So many people are afraid to spend money that they won't then generate the revenue. They won't spend money on marketing to go generate the revenue. Now, look, hey, sometimes you don't need to spend money on marketing. Every industry is different. But if you don't, you're not going to get over the hump at all. But then other people are just spending money on stuff that they just don't even need, but they think they're supposed to have it. You don't have to actually rent an office. You can work from home to save money.
No.
You don't have to buy a $90,000 car so that you can drive around town to see people. Like, there's choices you can make on your expenses. Now, what are the typical industry standards? There's data that's out there. This is where we often come in as we actually dig into some of those numbers and look at industry metrics and say, well, you're spending 3 times as much as everyone else in your industry does on average on this thing.
Right.
Why? How do we address that? It could be a bad product. It could be, actually, I will say one thing that does come up a lot with early stage clients that we run across, they're scared to go market. They're scared to go sell. They think that I'm a good technician, so then everybody's going to show up. Now look, I'm not, I may be the best CPA in the entire universe. But if I sit in my office and I just kind of wait, nobody's showing up.
Right.
And learning that skill, I am, despite any outward appearances from what you know of me, I'm an introvert. I play video games. I read books. I like hanging out with my family. I pretty much chill and am low key.
Yeah.
But I had to adapt an extroverted personality to do the job that I do. I just had no choice. And there's a lot of just dials to turn in running the business. So each business is very, very different. But I will say that the scarcity mindset holds people back all the time. Now, I'm not saying waste money and being talked into stuff you don't need. You have to be very prudent about it, but being methodical about choosing what you're going to do. Also, more is not always better. If I'm going to make up numbers here. So if your revenue this year was $100,000 and next year it's $500,000 and next year it's $10 million. And at the end of those 3 years, you have $40 million of debt. Are you successful?
Not really.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Many, many business owners overborrow because all they understand is revenue and sales, but they never look at the bottom line. They never look at their balance sheet for debt, and they don't realize they've actually put themselves in a worse position in the chase for revenue. Now, there's reasons people do that, and that's a longer strategy CFO stuff. Just because your revenue is climbing does not mean you're better. Sometimes I actually have clients get rid of clients, get rid of employees, and downshift back. I mean, there's my industry, my firm, I have all my employees and I love them and they're freaking awesome. And I barely do any client work at all myself. They handle the client work so I can be the CEO. And that's by design.
Right.
But could I also be successful, me just doing everything by myself? Yeah, I could be just fine. And you can make that comparison. Am I better off with 2 employees, 10 employees, or 50? Bigger is not inherently better, but we're taught that if you're not hustling for the growth, you're not successful.
Right.
And success is how you define it. I define it by traveling the world and playing video games and having time off. I leave every day at 3:30. For a CPA to leave every day at 3:30, I take vacations on spring break.
Right.
No CPA takes vacations on spring break. But there's a system. There's a trade-off to all of that. I could be bigger. Absolutely. But then I wouldn't be taking these massive vacations that I take. And so that's
can't fill up the sleeve.
I can't fill up the sleeve. I mean, my gosh. Every summer I typically take 3.5 to 4 weeks of a single vacation. And then throughout the year, we'll take anywhere between 2 to 4 more weeks of different vacations.
Love it.
And it's taken me time. I've had this firm for almost 20 years. So it's taken time, but it was part of my plan. How do I build the methodology to get into that? I've screwed up a lot.
Yeah.
But it was always on point to a certain future that I had in mind.
And I think that's important for everyone out there to understand too, is that you can start small. Make an investment. Get yourself an assistant. Get yourself at least a Calendly, something, right? To where you're starting to think like an actual CEO, like
Mhm.
an actual business owner that's working on the business and not in the business.
Yes.
One of my sayings now that I stole from a roofing client years ago is if I have a camera in my hand, I messed up somewhere. I messed up because my
Mm.
crew should be out there doing the filming, doing the editing,
Mhm.
so I can do podcasts like this and other sales and marketing initiatives. I have failed somewhere if I'm on a location and I have the camera in my hand, or I'm just a project manager that's there kind of overseeing,
Mhm.
touching clients. So really appreciate your approach to how you run your business because it's exactly how you're telling them.
Right.
And that gives you credibility with the docs as well because you're like, look, this is exactly how I have built this business, so I can do it for your business.
Now, what's interesting about that, there is a flip side or opposite to that that's also just as successful.
Mhm.
There are plenty of people that just love being technicians.
Yeah.
They're amazing. And I only want to do surgeries. Just point me to a room and I'll slice on it. That's
Yeah.
it. That's their gig. They don't want to be a CFO. They don't want to be a CEO. They don't want to know any of it. Also cool. We play to your strengths.
Right.
Their strengths are doing those things. So then we hire office managers and salespeople. Or in my office, I am terrible at leading people. I am terrible at managing people and checking on their status and doing all. And look, I'm an owner. I'm supposed to be a leader, and I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
So I had to hire for it. So focus on what your definition of success is, what you envision your entire universe to look like.
Right.
And if you did say, if I don't have a camera in my hand, I failed. Like you have to have a camera.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
My business plan is not your business plan, but your business plan needs to be tailored to specifically what you want to do. It's funny, is I have a whole curriculum that teaches this thing.
Yeah.
It's largely focused on the accountants because accountants are taught, show up, fill out the form, learn how to review the form. You get promoted to manager. You review the form, then you learn how to sell. Like they have this very clear line, but not everybody wants to do all those things.
Right.
And so you can rise to whatever level of success. It doesn't mean you can't be partner if you can't review a tax return.
Yeah.
Or if you can't sell. Like there's ways to do this stuff. It's just
Yeah.
we're taught there's only one path too often, and there's usually multiple ways to do it. And we're taught success is somebody else's definition you saw on Facebook.
Yeah.
And look, I could absolutely make a whole lot more money. I mean, if I didn't take 6-8 weeks of vacation a year, by golly, I could make some extra money.
Yeah.
But then what's the point? It's like I like to bash on Dave Ramsey because Dave Ramsey is amazing when you're not of a wealth mindset. Because a lot of people are in the debt mindset. They got to get themselves out of their mess, and he's phenomenal for that.
Right.
You know, put your little envelopes together and don't spend money on this, and you should never have a credit card. Those are terrible ideas if you're successful for many, many reasons. But one of the things that I heard him say on a broadcast, don't buy a Starbucks every day. See, if you save that at the time, $5,
Right.
now it's like $35 or whatever they are.
Something like that.
So if you take that $5, put this into a spreadsheet. Every single day you spend $5, but you invest that, and that money invests at 5% interest rate. Compound that over the years, and over 20 years you'll have a Ferrari or whatever silly. Absolutely correct mathematically. If I take $5 every single day and I invest it and I leave it for 20 years, that compounding of adding you will have a lot of money.
Right.
However, if you need Starbucks to wake up to show up to the office, you need to make it to work. Because if I get fired from my job because I am asleep, it's not really a good investment. So the math is not always the story.
Right.
We have clients that will give advice to should they pay off their house or not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you've got a 2.75% interest rate, should you pay off your house? Mathematically, the answer is heck no. You take that extra couple $100,000 you were going to spend on that house and you put it into a high yield savings account, you'll immediately make 4 or 5%. Better yet, let's invest it more aggressively and you'll make 6 to 20%. Mathematically, this is easy. Everybody listening can understand that math. What if you are having heartburn and you're stressed out and you literally lose sleep and you have anxiety and muscle aches and you have to go to the doctor because of, I got this debt.
Right.
Math no longer matters.
Exactly.
So sometimes we break the mold. And I know I veered right when you were probably trying to go left there, but it's a lot of stuff that we talk about that's more than just the numbers.
No, I think that's great, and that's why I think it's great that, on having a consultant like yourself in their corner because, like you said, they can't just plug that in to a spreadsheet. There has to be a human element involved to say, okay, for your situation.
Yes.
And to bring up the Dave Ramsey thing, it's like you have to take what he says and then go, okay, what about our specific situation? But he can't do that on air, right? He can't say, okay, for yours, but you don't do that kind of deal. So And I love the fact that on the flip with the doc and
Mhm.
saying, okay, if the technician, the practitioner, but if that person, if he's answering the phones and sending the emails and all the different things, like he can't be the successful doctor that he is. So
Mhm.
it's a great flip, and I'm glad you brought that
And
up.
it comes to the AI part is like the AI can only do so much.
Right.
It really has to learn Mario. It really has to learn
Yes.
who is this human being and what are they trying to accomplish. And even then, it's still not there. There's certain things that we can expedite and speed things up through the use of the technology on how to come up with solutions. But what it's supposed to be doing is giving us recommendations, and then we interpret which ones best apply.
Yes.
Because the AI will spit out the math version of here's what you do with your house payment.
Right.
But it really doesn't understand. How, you could say, I'm stressed out. And it might go, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
But here's the math. That's where the human element comes in. And again, those people that embrace using the tool
Yeah.
in anything. This could happen in roofing,
Yep.
right? There's AI to analyze the roofing, and there's drones that can measure things out and estimate stuff. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that's in every industry. But embracing that, but the human contact, that part still just can't go away
Right.
in all spaces. There's
Right.
stuff that's going to absolutely be replaced.
Yeah.
But it also makes my job fun. Honestly, I mean, we get to help people. That's a whole lot more cool anyways. But
Yes. And there's going to be nuance, like you said,
Yeah.
to every situation. And so if you're out there listening, embrace the AI, but understand that your human touch, your intelligence, your expertise
Mhm.
still matters. So if our audience is listening and they're like, you know what, I'm done. I've plateaued every year. I have done this the scarcity way. I've not reached out to a consulting firm, an accounting firm that's actually going to look at my stuff and plan. What are their next steps to get a hold of your agency for some kind of a consultation to set something up
yeah,
with them?
actually what we do is we do a 1 hour no charge intro meeting. So really that's largely to help learn what the heck's going on with you to see if we can help. Sometimes we have a meeting with somebody and go, okay, not yet. You don't need us yet. Here's 3 tricks. Call us in 3 months. So we'll have that dialogue. But we have a website, smdaccounting.com. It's SMD as in Sean Michael Duncan. Here's a funny thing is the state of Texas requires CPA firms to have their full name, surname, or initials as part of their company name. We're just by license required. That's why we're so boring in our company names. If you see one that's like Jazz Hands CPA, they're actually not technically a CPA firm, just so you know, unless their name is Jazz Hands. I haven't run across a CPA named Jazz Hands. So anywho, smdaccounting.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm an old person, so I do not have a TikTok. But that's the easiest way to do it. Just email us, info@smdaccounting.com. But it is a 1 hour, no charge. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. Let me learn your situation, and then we will decide what the next steps looks like. Hey, and if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. But if it is, and we go, holy cow, like this doctor this morning, oh my gosh, then we're going to roll forward into what package best fits you. We have a lot of different service packages because it's about comprehensive subscription-based fixed fee help.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that. We don't bill hourly. That way our clients aren't punished every time they ask a question because that's what an invoice is.
Yeah.
I got a quick question. And what do most people do? They go, oh, they're going to charge me $60. Never mind. I'm going to go to Google. And then Google lies to them.
Mhm.
And then they have a $10,000 mess that they did because they tried to save 60. We killed that.
Yeah.
It's fixed fee, subscription-based, project-based, and that really creates a much more fluid dialogue with our clients.
I love that and so glad you were able to get that in. We do the same thing. We're project based. We're not hourly based because at the end of the day, we don't want to penalize the client or ourselves for being more efficient. So really appreciate you coming on the show,
I enjoyed it, man.
sharing with us. I got my hour-long conversation just now, consultation. So
And I kept myself calm because I had a whole bunch of sidebars I was about to go in and tell these silly stories. So if you want to get to the silly stories versions of things or like the stuff people tried to deduct that you can't believe they tried to deduct, I'm happy to do that story too.
I think we have to have you back on for like a blooper reel of like, okay, what are the nightmare scenarios? But
dude, there are so many.
Really appreciate you carving the time out for us today and being on the show. So please, if you're listening out there and you're looking for an outstanding consulting and accounting firm, look no further than Sean Duncan
Thanks, dude. I
and
appreciate
SMD Accounting and Consulting. As for me, I'm Mario Wilson. You've been listening to the Focus Podcast. And as always, if you need a professional video, call us at 12 Media Group, where we put your brand in focus.